This is part 5 of our video on measurement review, and we're going to be taking a look at question 3, part B. So 3B says, for the following shape, calculate the surface area. And the shape that we are calculating the surface area of is this one up here. So I just want to mention some things that we did in the previous part in case you didn't watch that part. We split this up into a rectangular prism and a triangular prism, and then we calculated this length by taking the length of the whole side and subtracting the length of just the rectangular part to get that this little side here is 75 meters. Okay, so surface area. Surface area is the outside of a shape. So when we're calculating surface area, we only want to include the sides that are on the outside. Just like with perimeter, it's the outside of a flat shape. Surface area is the outside of a 3D shape. So you want to make sure that you're only including things that are on the exterior or the outside. So I'm going to find the surface area of the rectangular prism, the surface area of the triangular prism, but we are going to try to eliminate any sides that we don't think are going to be on the outside, because some of the sides are going to end up on the inside. All right, so let's start with the rectangular prism. Okay, on my formula sheet, a rectangle-based prism, the formula for surface area is 2 bracket width height plus length width plus length height. I don't love that formula. I much prefer to distribute the 2 into the bracket and do 2 width height plus 2 length width plus 2 length height. I find that formula much easier to work with, and I recommend that you do the same, but it is up to you. Okay, because if I think about the formula, this has 6 sides, right? But opposite ones are the same. So the top and the bottom are the same, the front and the back are the same, and the left and the right sides are the same. So there's 2 of every combination of sides. All right, so for my rectangular prism, I am going to say that the area is 2 width height plus 2 length width plus 2 length height. Okay, if I go back up and I look at the diagrams that I drew from the first part of the question, this rectangular prism, most of its sides are going to be on the outside except for one. This side here is going to end up being on the inside of the shape, right? So that side would be like here, and it's covered up by the triangle. So I do not want to include that particular side. So this side would be the length and the height. So I need to remove one of the sides that's length and height. So from my formula, I have a choice. I can either subtract length height at the end to remove the side I don't want, or I can take the 2 length heights and I can change that into a 1 length height, right? So either I subtract a length height or I take out one of the length heights. It's up to you, whatever makes more sense to you. Okay, so I'm going to take the dimensions that we have, and I am going to reuse what we had labeled up here. So 2 width is 150, and the height is 100. I'll put that part back up in a second. I don't know if I can get them both on there. We'll see. And then I have 2 length width. Length is 80. Width is 150. And then I have only 1 length height. So length is 80. And then my height is 100. So I ended up with 2 times 150 times 100 plus 2 times 80 times 150 plus 1 times 80 times 100. My next step would be to do the multiplication. Order of operations says we multiply before we add. So I would do 2 times 150 times 100, which is 30,000. And then I have 2 times 80 times 150, which is 24,000. And then I have 1 times 80 times 100, which is 8,000. All right, so if I add those numbers together, I get 54,000. Now this is area, so the unit for area is squared. So I would do meters squared. If I want to think of it, I'm only ever multiplying 2 dimensions at a time, so like width and height or length and width. So I'm just multiplying 2 things, that's why it's squared. All right, that was the rectangular prism. And then now I need to do the triangular prism. Okay, I think because I need to highlight one of the sides, and I've already highlighted a side on here, I think I might actually redraw this down below. So I'm going to do that very quickly. That was very poorly drawn on my part. Okay, so we have 75, 80, 125, 100, and we had already labeled that this was C, A, and L, B, and H. So if you didn't watch the previous one, when I'm looking at the formula sheet for the triangle-based prism, you want to focus on finding the triangle, right? So the triangle is here, the triangle is here. So the base and what they call the length meet at 90 degrees. So the 75 and the 100 met at 90 degrees. So I did B and L for those. The height is the side that's not part of the triangle. So that's here. And then A and C are the other 2 sides in the triangle. So C is the one on the right-hand side. And then there wasn't an extra side on this side. It's actually the length and the A. It's the same letter for both sides because that is the 3rd side of the triangle. Okay, so when I put these 2 shapes together, we said that this end of the rectangular prism got covered up. But this side, same side on the inside of the triangular prism is also getting covered up, right? So the back side that's on the back side of that triangle, right? This side here is getting covered up, right? So in my triangular prism, the one on the back side that we can't really see very well is the part that's getting covered up. So we have to eliminate that part from our formula. So when I go to calculate the surface area of my triangular prism, my area, there are so many formulas here. I like to start at the bottom and then work my way back up if I need to. So I have BL plus AH plus BH plus CH. So I have BL plus AH plus BH plus CH. And then I need to eliminate part of this. So this said this came from 2 bases. So that's the 2 triangles, that's the BL. And then my rectangles, there are 3 of them. So that's the AH, BH, and CH. Which of those rectangles are we losing? The one that is A and H. So we're going to lose the AH because that side is covered up. So you can either cross it out or you could just subtract AH if you want to do it that way. All right, so my surface area is going to be B, so 75 times L, which is 100. We're not doing that back rectangle, so we've gotten rid of that part. We have B, so 75 times H, that's going to be the bottom, so it's 80. And then C and H are that front side that we can see. Oops, I wrote C instead of writing 125. And then H is 80. So I have 75 times 100 plus 75 times 80 plus 125 times 80. And then we're going to do our multiplications first. So 75 times 100 is 7,500. 75 times 80 is 6,000. And 125 times 80 is 10,000. And if I add all of those together, I get 23,500. And then this is still area, so it should be in meters squared. All right, so the rectangular prism was 54,000. The triangular prism was 23,500. All I have left to do is add those two together because those two shapes are being combined. So I'm going to take 54,000, add 23,500, and I get a grand total of 77,500. And that is meters squared. And then since there were a lot of calculations in this question, I would do a therefore. So therefore, the surface area is 77,500 meters squared. All right, and that'll do it for our measurement review.